Hello everyone, I'm Marion Woods, the moderator of tonight's forum. And first we want to thank all the candidates for their willingness to run for an elected position and for their time this evening. And due to the current pandemic, the candidate forum is being recorded and for everybody's information will be aired to the public at the end of the month. The Jack Moore Community Room, which we're in now at the Chamber of Commerce, is rather small, so to conform with the Public Health Department's advice, and only candidates are allowed to enter the room and be here with those of us who are doing the program. The Governmental Relations Committee of the Chamber is sponsoring the event and has selected questions that were submitted by Chamber members and the public. Next, I will explain the format, the rules, and we have a disclaimer. And by the way, it is at my discretion if I think there needs to be any rebuttal time offered to somebody. All questions were submitted and selected by the Governmental Relations Committee. All candidates were given the questions in advance. Candidates will be seated on the main floor, and we are abiding by the social distancing guidelines. And when invited to speak, you will come up to the microphone. Each candidate will be given 1 minute to introduce themselves, and we will randomly pick a number out of the box. The number will correspond with a question from the list of submitted questions. This will continue until at least 4 questions have been asked. Each candidate will get a minute to answer that question. The order is up to my discretion, and I have determined already how we will be doing that. And the timekeeper, right over here, will be holding up a paddle indicating how much time is remaining. As a public service, the Greater Warrensburg Area Chamber of Commerce's role tonight is to sponsor this event, to provide the public the opportunity to hear from the candidates seeking office so that they may better make informed decisions about the representatives in government. Warrensburg Chamber of Commerce is a nonpartisan organization, and in that nonpartisan spirit has, to the best of its ability, strived to put fairness above all else by including and obtaining consensus between the county committee chairpersons in every aspect of the planning of the event, and by including any and all candidates seeking office regardless of party affiliation in tonight's candidate forum. The first group of candidates tonight for Johnson County Community Health Services. There are 3 seats available. There are 7 candidates, and I believe we have 4 of those candidates at this time with us in the room. And we will start with some introductions. Each candidate will introduce themselves, and we'll have 1 minute to do that. And we'll start with the person in the 5th seat. That would be Corky.
I'm the 5th seat, okay. Okay, my name's Corky, or Corinne Bergen. I've lived in Warrensburg since 2011, but I've been here before that. My dad retired here from the Air Force, and then I went to college here after a year at the academy. I went to California for 33 years as an environmental safety and health professional, returned here in retirement. I have 2 sons, aged 9 and 5. Actually, not my sons. I'm their guardian, but as far as I'm concerned, they're my boys. I've served on the board since 2013, I believe. It's either 2013 or 2015. And I've enjoyed serving the public and working with the board. And I'm looking forward to doing it again for another couple of years if everything works out well. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, Chamber, for sponsoring this event. My name is Donna Stewart. I was born and raised in Johnson County. I went to school at Warrensburg High School, where I got my diploma, have a 2-year associate from University of Central Missouri, and I married my husband, who is also local. We have raised 3 children in this county, 2 of which still live here. And of my 4 grandchildren, 3 of those are growing up right here in Johnson County. So as you know, my roots run deep in this county. I think it's a wonderful place to have a family and raise children. I love and respect the people of this county. They're family. So many of them are family to me. I have served since the summer of 2017 on the board, and would very much appreciate your vote on April the 6th to continue the work I do, which is your health. Thank you.
Hi, I'm James Williams. I'm running for a seat on the Johnson County Community Health Board. I'm a registered nurse and a nurse practitioner with over 30 years public health experience. We're experiencing a unique event in this country and the world, and it centers around public health. I would very much like to be able to represent Johnson County, provide and share 30-some years of experience in managing epidemics. And I have done, and a great majority of my work was done with, in conjunction with CDC and Indian Health Service in conducting vaccine research. This is an area I'm very comfortable with, and I hope to be able to put those many years to practice.
Thank you, Jay.
My name is Rick Edwards. I'm married to my wife, Velta. We have 4 adult children. I joined the health board in 2013 with the goal of making quality health services available to all residents of Johnson County. I spent 33 years in public education as a teacher, coach, and finished up as a school superintendent. And I feel that those valuable experiences that I gained have helped me serve successfully on the health board. My experience in working with the public, I would like to continue on the health board. The past 8 years on the board has been enlightening, educational, as well as satisfying. And I feel that I offer a perspective that blends well with the health board's stated objectives. The current challenges facing the board requires members that are dedicated, strong in conviction, and willing to do what they can in the best interest of the citizens of Johnson County.
And number 4 is, what is the current method for constituents to communicate and obtain information from board members? And do you think there should be specific email addresses where they can recommend input from the public?
In the 3.5 years that I have served with the board, we have always used the board's Johnson County health.org to get any information, any questions. They were sent to the agency, and Mary Tout, who is our administrator, immediately forwards those to us. So that's how we've done it in the past, and we've never had any problems with that. This year with the pandemic and all that has gone along with that, we've had a lot of people question why we don't have emails. So I actually opened an email, stuartdonna722@gmail.com, but I will emphasize the fact that as a board, we work together. It takes 3 people on the board to make any decision. So personally, I, by myself, am not going to be making a decision or discussing my decisions. I will listen to anybody or will read what they send me. And that's how that is done.
All right. Thank you.
Well, I'm not on the board at present, so I'm not really familiar with their normal operating procedures. From my experience and from my preference, having a separate email is something that as a group, if they decided that we each needed to generate. But regardless of what the board might decide, My experience has told me the more open the communication is, and the more directly people can get a hold of me to ask questions, my phone number will be available to the constituents as well as my main email. I have no issues with maintaining communications. It is that ability to be able to communicate people and address issues quickly and early that saves a lot of confusion and misunderstanding that has really afflicted this whole process.
Okay, communication with the board is available during public comment at all monthly board meetings when all board members are assembled as a group. In my opinion, email is not an effective way to communicate with people because you aren't able to go into the depth in the discussion that needs to take place to get a full understanding of a concern or a response to an individual. My preferred basis of communication is face-to-face. Emails can be sent to Johnson County Community Health, the board or the health department's office, and I have received in the past a forwarded email from constituents, and I've tried to be responsive as I can, but I state that it's not a real effective way to communicate.
Currently, the way that constituents can reach us is through calling the agency, or we have public comment period at the beginning of every meeting. And then, quite frankly, I'm available for anybody that can find me. I'm on Facebook, I'm in the phone book, etc., etc. I am available. We've had the discussions about having a group email. The thing to remember is when we make a decision as a board or when we speak as a board, it's 5 people who are speaking. Having one person respond to an email is not representative of what the whole board is doing. So in those instances where I talk with the public, I make it very clear, this is my opinion and my stance on an issue, not the board's stance. If you want to hear the boards, you really need to come through the public comment period on the meetings. We've talked about doing a email, and we haven't worked out the mechanics on how we would answer as a board for each email that comes in. That's something to be discussed further in the next year.
You have any medical training that would qualify you to make informed scientific decisions concerning the health of the public? James?
Yes, I do. 40 years, 30 of them plus, as a nurse practitioner seeing and treating patients here in Warrensburg, Dr. Maxon's office in the 70s, later at the VA, and then finally as a commissioned officer with the U.S. Public Health Service Commission Corps. Probably you've heard of the Surgeon General. That is the commanding officer for the Public Health Service. I have cared for Alaska Natives and indigenous populations all over the world, and have written many peer-reviewed publications on vaccine distribution, immunogenicity and safety trials with both patients and healthcare providers, primarily with hepatitis A and B vaccines. So I understand the virology of vaccines and how to safely be able to administer them and to communicate to patients and to the public. And my time is up.
I do not have any medical training other than a first aid class I took in undergraduate school while in college, but I would like to point out that health board members make decisions based on the advice of health department professionals, community healthcare providers, and state and federal health professionals. Health board members rely on the expertise of other people when decisions are to be made. Medical training might be a plus, but common sense, good judgment, rational decision-making skills, and the ability to make hard decisions impartially are more important, in my opinion, than medical training to be a good health board member.
I do not have any formal medical training. My background is a bachelor's degree in industrial safety from Central Missouri State University and a master's in environmental management from the University of San Francisco. The master's degree does coincide with the environmental arena. We do have an environmental group within the public health agency that deals with restaurant inspections, wastewater inspections, that type of thing. That being said, environmental safety and health professionals do injury illness prevention and follow-up. My mother was a registered nurse. I grew up at her knee, and I definitely picked up on plenty of stuff there. And I've had emergency response for things like anthrax, chemical spills, radiation spills, etc. So I think my background is good for being able to apply logic and scientific basis to questions, but my background is not medical. Thank you.
Other than CPR training, which I've taken several times, I don't have a medical background. My working career was in the field of public service, but although I don't have a medical background, I, like Rick, believe in relying on the expertise of those who do spend their life's work in the medical field. This attitude, I believe that people who know about how to protect against viruses, how to keep safe from viruses, are the people we need to look to give us advice and guidance on how we react. And my attitude about relying upon them guides the decisions that I make in the area of public health. So that's all I do.
Question is, what are your top 3 goals you wish to accomplish during your term?
You asked for top 3. I've got more than 3, but I'll narrow it down to my 3. Number 1 would be to continue recruiting and retention of quality employees to continue the quality healthcare services for Johnson County residents. The job pool, the employee pool is shrinking. It's very competitive to get quality employees. But I think we need to stress that and continue to stress that so that we have the best serving Johnson County. Number 2 goal would be to continue supporting a caring, progressive, open-minded health department. They are very responsive to the county community health needs, and I think as a board member, I support them in their endeavors to provide quality service. Number 3 would be to expand the programs and services of the health department as the budget allows.
And I have to say I coincide with Rick on a couple of them. Nursing staff for public health and for the other areas that we have for Johnson County Community Health, we need high quality staff, and we have a lot of competition for that particular commodity within Missouri. So being able to attract and retain good quality people is one of the top priorities. Second one is more of a personal nature type thing. When Corona hit, I basically got sidelined with my kids, and I spent a lot of time at home because they were home from school, and then I've kept them home for online training. I'd like to spend more time in the community finding out more ways that Johnson County community health can help support our community. And the final goal that I would like to spend more time with is just working on how we communicate better. I'm not convinced email is the solution, but I think there has to be something we can do better when we have conflict. Thank you.
Well, the current COVID pandemic continues to be a top priority. We have our vaccinations now. Mary has worked tirelessly to get the vaccine here and to set up the clinics and to get our people vaccinated. And that is paramount to overcoming this pandemic and getting it under control. So that remains a top priority. Also important, because we live in a paperless world, now, the security of our medical records continues to be of paramount importance. And so we are currently in the process of updating our security system, our computers, getting the best quality we can. So that's being worked on. And finally, it's important to remain an updated referral system so that when somebody has a need, they can think, oh, I'll call Johnson County and find out where I can get this taken care of. And so it's important to keep that up to date.
This last few months ago, like about a month and a half ago, I was working with the health department, kind of came out of retirement to help them do contact tracing. And they are definitely, their number one need, as I see it, would be a goal of mine, would be the recruitment of public health professionals with experience. With that will come resources. There is a shortage of these individuals. By developing relationships with federal agencies as well as agencies within the state, it will allow us to develop connections. There's a real shortage of registered nurses, period, in the state of Missouri for a whole lot of reasons. But it takes resources to compete with the competing sources. Goal 2 would be town hall meetings to improve communication. And number 3, give me a call.
When making decisions regarding public health, how will you balance the voice of your constituency and the recommendations of the Johnson County community health professionals?
In making decisions about constituency versus health professionals, depends on the nature of the issue. When it comes to COVID and public health issues that involve viruses, that type of thing, I'm going to point more to the health professionals, quite frankly. I know there are a lot of things people don't like about the protective measures. I understand that. I empathize with it. The bottom line is the health professionals are the ones that know how to handle viruses better than the general public does. And I'm going to rely on their input more heavily. When it comes to things like how do we communicate with people, what's the best way to manage our website, that type of thing, I'm open to input from everybody. But I do think it's important, like I said, that for medical issues, we work with what medical professionals are recommending. Thank you.
It is a difficult thing to do, especially in a county our size. I think we have probably 54,000 to 55,000 residents in our county. And I think they're pretty well broken down 50-50 as far as male and female populations. But the age 65 and over group are about 13% of our population. Those between the ages of 18 and 64 run about 59%. And when I have talked with constituents, they have been very pleased with the actions we've taken. Now there's a smaller group, I believe, who are very unhappy with with the mask mandate. And that, they've been a lot more vocal than the population who's been happy with that mandate. So you have to balance who's doing the loudest talking against the whole. And you go with, I try to go with what's the best for the health of the people.
Well, if I'm the one who's a provider, my decision is what is in the best interest of the health of the individual or individuals that I'm working with. In terms of it being a community, it is a matter of what is balanced by the science and by what can be logistically done. And those are decisions that need to be discussed and open for input, but ultimately it comes down to being able to communicate these ideas and to effectively help people understand the necessity and the issues of improving and providing for the safety of all individuals in the community. And like with this in particular, with the COVID, it is, there are different risk factors for different age groups, and they require different assessments and interventions.
Board members are elected to represent their constituency, which is all, and I repeat, all Johnson County residents, not just those that are loud, outspoken, and who have in some occasions second-guessed health board decisions. We're here to protect all county residents. It's been determined in the county that there's about a 50-50 split in some decisions the health board has made, but we've made them, we stand behind them, and they've been educated decisions. Board members make decisions based on available facts, not on radical expression, intimidation, or threats, and the health of county residents is foremost in all decision-making by the board. So as long as we put the county residents' health needs first and implement programs for the benefit of those residents, I think the health board is on the right track.
There are 2 seats available, and we have 6 candidates. We'll let each of them now introduce themselves, and they'll have a minute to do that. And we're going to start with the person in seat 2, and that's right back there. That is you.
My name is Angela Taylor, and I grew up in Sedalia and kind of in the Warrensburg area with extended family. I have 3 boys, 19, 17, and 15, married to Chuck. I am interested in running for the school board because I've always had kind of a desire to do it, but due to time constraints with kids and sports, it just didn't happen. And so it's kind of become obvious how important our schools are in the local community and how important it is for our local community members to have a voice in the school board. So that's why I'm running. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Aaron Franklin, and I've lived in Warrensburg for 9 of the past 15 years. I just retired from the Air Force, and my wife and I decided to settle down here and make Warrensburg our permanent home. I've been serving my nation and community for the past 20 years, and I would like to continue to do so on a more focused local level, and that's why I'm running for the board. I think I'm qualified in 3 different ways. First, I'm a parent of 2 current students in the district. Through that, I'm able to understand a lot of what the district has to offer our current students, as well as what some of the challenges and issues that the district currently faces. Second, I've also for the past school year been an employee of the district as a substitute teacher in light of the pandemic and the quarantine pressure it's had on students. So I've been able to observe some of what goes on inside the buildings, inside the classrooms in other ways that other parents haven't been able to. And then third, a career in the Air Force, whether as an officer, an instructor pilot, or as a commander at various levels, including a 3,000 student campus, has given me some of the experience and knowledge base to be successful on the board. Thank you.
Well, if I may, I'd like to thank Suzanne and the Chamber for hosting this forum, and I appreciate Woody for moderating. My name is Ray Crisp. I'm a native of Southern Illinois, and I attended the University of Illinois and earned a doctorate, PhD in English. I have 1 daughter, 2 granddaughters, and a very talented son-in-law. I have just about over 30 years of experience in education as an English teacher at high school and middle school, a public school administrator. I was the English Language Arts coordinator for kindergarten through grade 12 in 2 large districts. With that experience, I'm looking forward to serving the Warrensburg community as a member of the Board of Education. I think I'm eminently qualified, and I am pleased to serve. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. I'm very excited to participate. My name is Shannon Bridgman. I am an educator, I'm a parent, and I'm a product of public schools. From preschool through a PhD program, all of my education has been in public schools and universities. I'm a mother to 3 wonderful sons who are students in the Warrensburg schools at 3 different school buildings. I started teaching in 2003 at the university level, and I've worked in local government, which also gave me a wonderful insight to the importance of the school boards and its role in local governance. I'm excited to participate in answering any questions, and I also am just grateful for the opportunity to come here and also to put myself forward for public service, and look forward to hearing from everyone. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for letting me attend. My name is John Paul Suchecki. I am the minister at the Warrensburg Church of Christ over off McGuire. I spent most of my life in either doing ministry or education, or often both. I came here from pretty much everywhere. I grew up in Indiana, but since then I taught overseas for 5 years. I have a degree in theology, and I'm currently working on my Doctorate of Education in Educational Leadership, about 75% done with that. I have 2 children that are currently in the Warrensburg School District, and one thing I want to do is make sure that they have the skills to succeed. I mean, I don't just care about my children. I want every teacher that falls under Warrensburg to make sure that what is happening is to their best interest. And as me running for school board, I would like to do everything in my power that I can to make sure that that happens. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Tom McCormick. I'd like to thank the Chamber for hosting this, and the Golden Voice of Johnson County, Marion Woods, for being our moderator. I lived in Warrensburg for over 60 years. I was a 1967 graduate of Warrensburg High School. Very proud of that. I'm a veteran of the United States Coast Guard, where I attended Class A electrician school. And that kind of set me up for, owning and operating my own business in the Warrensburg area for 40 years. I have 2 kids in school, 1 in high school, a nephew, and a grandson in middle school. Thank you.
How would you fulfill the role of a board member? Pretty simple.
So first of all, the most important things, I think, to be an effective board member are twofold. Number one, you have to listen. So what I mean by that is, as a board member, you represent your entire constituency. And that's your students, your teachers, your administrators, faculty, staff, superintendent. Every single person in the greater Warrensburg area who's paying taxes doesn't have a student. You need to represent everyone. The only way you're going to do that is not coming into a board with your own agenda and your own opinions. You're obviously going to have some opinions, but you have to listen. Listen to everyone, and then be able to make an informed decision. The second thing you need to do is be a team player. Know how to effectively work within a committee and a team, because you're one person of a 7-member team. So you're going to go in, you're going to listen to everyone, figure out what the issues are, figure out what the solutions that other people have are, because you're not going to have all the solutions. I'm not going to have them all. But you're going to take that input from everyone you listen to, you're going to get together as part of your team, your committee, and you're going to come up with the best solution for the youth in our community. And that's really what it's all about. And so that's how I would be the effective board member. Thank you.
First of all, I would attend all the meetings, and I would come prepared, having done research for the questions or topics, and the research would include listening to people, students, teachers, and administrators. I think also that it's important to pay attention to the policies, pay attention to the goals and objectives, and to see to it that the curriculum is responding to what we believe students need to know. And evaluation and assessment are extremely important to pay attention to determine if we have in fact achieved the goals.
The way I would approach it would be the way that I was taught and the way that I teach my students and my children, which is to show up, do your job and be nice. Showing up is showing up and attending all of the board meetings, attending all of the training that is both required and going above and beyond. And doing your job includes preparation. The board and the administration work extraordinarily hard to have those packets distributed, studying the material, preparing, asking any questions, doing the research ahead of time to be able to get to business once we all get together. And the last is being nice, which is basic with kids, but for us, I think it means understanding our role as a board, communal board, and also to seek consensus.
I fulfill the role of a board member by being proactive. That means attending meetings, listening, hearing what people have to say, but also gathering input. A lot of what we do does not occur in a vacuum, and people are going to be bringing voices everywhere. And so one of the things that I said I'd like to see is I like to see teachers get more raise, and that's something I might try to push for. But I also recognize that part of being a board member is working together in that group, that I as an individual have no power, but I can still do things to help out the people that would like to see me in this position. Personally, I'd also like to see being a little bit more visual as being a board member. I talked to a few of my teacher friends, and one of the things that they complained about is they don't know any of the board members or what they do, or even if they have their best interest in heart. And so part of that is they just don't see them. And so while I don't want to stifle their creativity or feel like I'm controlling them, I would like them to be more of a visual presence kind of person.
Since I've served on the board, proudly served on the board for the last 6 years, I probably continue to do what I've been doing, which is attending all the meetings, attending continuing education seminars, delegate assemblies, everything that's involved with it. I did miss one meeting. It was during the summer, but we had a pre-planned vacation to go to Disney World with my grandkids, and I decided that I was going to take the kids to Disney World with my phone in my pocket in case I was needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
My experience as an accountant, auditor, I'm kind of naturally a data gatherer and not just numbers. To make decisions, I think it's important to listen to the community and listen to the administrators and teachers and the other board members to make a decision based on perspective and getting all the different perspectives in. The most important goal is ensuring that the teachers and the schools and the children have the resources they need to be successful citizens and productive later.
Do you believe students are prepared for current workforce demands? And we'll start with number 4 here, and that's Ray Chris.
All right. Who knows what skills are going to be needed in the next 15, 20 years? That's a significant question. So I think the best way to prepare for that is to make sure our students are creative, to make sure that they can communicate, make sure that they are cooperative and participants in collective decision-making. I hope they all study democracy very carefully, because our democracy is in a bit of a challenge. So I believe they will live up to the challenge. And I think our schools will, in fact, prepare them. Communication is going to be the most important thing they can do.
In terms of current workforce demands, I think that the curriculum does a good job in preparing them with the academic and technical skills. I'm pleased with my own children to see a focus on critical thinking skills that are going to be imperative no matter when they're in the workforce now or in 20 years. You know, we don't even know what the job titles are going to be in 20 years, and we're going to be changing jobs just as we have been, even more so. So as we look forward, some of it's going to be needing to be focused on those soft skills, but really adaptability, communication, and being able to work together to solve collective problems. I think if the last few years have shown us anything in our discourse and our approach to problem solving, we've got work to do. And so rather than just performing tasks, we're going to have to step up and contribute in other ways in the workforce, and that's where it starts with the schools.
All right, thank you.
I think that, I want to preface this with, I think our school is doing everything it can to make sure that they are. We have programs like the A+ program, they have programs like the college pathways, the technical certificate that they can get. But if anything that this last year has shown is that more and more students are not prepared because of faults in the school system or just because of the pandemic in general. And so I think one of the things that's been stressed that is going to be very, very important for students going forward is adaptability. And that's one of the things that they're going to have to focus on the most. And that just doesn't mean like doing the things the way that they'd be done, but a different way, but also trying to look towards the future and see what's going to be needed. And that's going to fall on us as those responsible for those students to make sure that they can meet those demands.
Well, that's kind of a tough question. I think our school counselors do a fantastic job of laying out their academic classes and stuff that they, if they choose an interest. But a lot of time a student will get on something and then decide he wants to do something else, and it's kind of hard to follow that. Now, the soft skills are really important in the job, on the job. You know, if you don't have the soft skills, you need the technical skills, the hard skills, and the soft skills to go together to be a good job candidate. But I think Warrensburg High School does a fantastic job of giving them what they need to get out the door. But from then on, I think it's more up to the student to set their mind to what they want to do. And a lot of times, it's hard. A lot of people don't want to work. There's a lot of jobs opening and they can't find people to work. People will show up a couple weeks and, you know, they're done. Thank you.
It's kind of a yes and no question. I currently have 3 in high school, and although they had the reading, writing, and science to get done, they were kind of, the 2 of them, been a little bit lost at the end of what they wanted to do. So I feel like we can improve on what kind of jobs are out there. There's a lot of focus on college, and I had one that basically ashamed for not wanting to go to college. He didn't know what he wanted to do. So I think they could improve on letting kids understand that it's not just college. There's all kinds of jobs out there that you can provide for a family with. So I think they could use some improvement.
Like every answer, that's an it depends question. A lot of students are prepared. There are some who aren't. And so I think you have to ask the question, why are some of the students who aren't prepared not? I think the district does a phenomenal job in providing opportunities for the students, whether at the high school, and for those who choose not to go to college, the Warrensburg Area Career Center with some more vocational, tech-focused education, preparing them for life after high school, whether it's college or not. Everything on paper when you read about the district is great, and I think we have some fantastic teachers who are educating our students in all the soft skills they need to be good people, hard workers. However, I think that there are some students who don't grab the opportunities that the district provides them. And I don't think the district forces the students to respect the rules. There's a lack of accountability with respect to, say, homework. Homework isn't required to be turned in until the end of the quarter. Why not? Okay, we don't force our students work ethic. We don't teach them task prioritization. And so some of these skills, I think you need to be an effective adult and worker, could be reinforced better. Thanks.
What is being done to improve the soft skills of students and prepare them for success? We've talked about soft skills, haven't we?
Yes, we have. This is good. It's like you get almost an extra minute. But in terms of the soft skills, as I mentioned, there are embedding into the curriculum more opportunities to strengthen and develop critical thinking skills, debate, collaborative learning in a lot of ways, although we all know about the group project where one or two people do all of the work. Some of that is learning those soft skills as well as how to manage each other and manage people. So a lot of them are embedded. That being said, I think young people call it adulting. Some of the soft skills that need to be, of course, reinforced in not just the curriculum, but in our daily lives. And a lot of that, comes at home, and we know that. I think that the teachers are amazing and incredibly dedicated as a whole. But again, those daily interactions in the classroom reinforce that, as well as clubs, organizations, work study opportunities. Every time that students interact with groups, organizations, they already learn those skills as a part of their existing activities.
All righty, thank you.
This is a kind of hard question for me because I'm not someone who currently works in the school system, so all I can do is really look at the curriculum and look at what is being emphasized. And the biggest place that is being done is a lot of the curriculum and what teachers are using are coming from the vision, the mission statement, and the motto that the school currently uses. And if you go and look at that, those things are full of soft skills and they kind of bleed out into the curriculum. Of course, we have specific things such as fine arts, teaching creativity, sports, even just general classroom stuff, teaching teamwork. My son told me, even my son who's 7, 8 years old was telling me he's learning leadership. I asked him, how are you learning leadership? He goes, because I got to be line leader for the week. And so it's good to see that those things are happening because they are the things that are going to really make our students in the future.
Well, I think the offering of many group activities in school, anything from band, athletics, DECA, drama club, art club, there's many aspects that a student can get into and get involved and builds teamwork. And teamwork, when you can work with other people, you're ready to go on a job. You know, that's something you need to achieve.
There are a lot of opportunities for them to work as a team on projects and stuff. My freshman this year is in a program called Project Lead the Way, and I have been really impressed with it. Working science into real life, like investigations and stuff. So they are working on it, they're improving it. Yes, and being on sporting teams and learning to get along even with the ones that annoy you. It's a soft skill. I've had to remind my kids several times that you will run into those people even as adults. So it's very important for them to learn how to get along and work with those people.
Well, the two things that are being done that come to my mind are one in the classroom with the teachers. So teachers are using a lot of very valuable tools and resources inside the classroom, conflict resolution, communication, to help improve those soft skills that we need for our children to develop. And so I might take a second to talk about what some of those are, like leadership, followership, communication. Secondly, probably most importantly, outside of the classroom, the district offers numerous opportunities for development and growth, whether it's clubs, extracurricular activities, sports, a plethora of opportunities for all of our students to partake in. So that's great that see that the district is providing all that soft skill management. What's not great, as I alluded to in a previous answer, is some of the holding our students' feet to the fire. So there are some soft skills that we really need to focus on some more, discipline, accountability, that I'd like to see, I think, produce more well-rounded individuals into our society as young adults. Thanks.
I am a strong believer in the arts and writing. I think with the arts, we teach creativity. We have the opportunity to be creative in any number of ways, including debate, drama, journalism, as well as painting, sculpting, and drawing. Now, writing is the most important learning skill that we have as a human being. And writing teaches us critical thinking as well as creativity. And these skills are in demand by industry.
Are you aware of any input from parents or teachers concerning collaboration days.
Yes, I am aware of this because I've had the opportunity to talk to some of my teacher friends about it. Because at first I didn't know what it was, but I knew my students were missing it. And once I found out, once they actually started opening up to me what it was, that a lot of them were saying the exact same thing. They felt like it was a waste of time. Not because that they thought the program idea was bad, but often because of how it was implemented. Most of them thought that the tools and resources being used or shared were below them, or they could have done a better job. Now, one of the opposites of that is one of my friends was a big advocate of the collaboration program in the high school, especially because of the way it was implemented. She in particular said that she liked how the high school not only asked their input, but allowed them to collaborate outside of their normal cohorts. So like an English teacher could collaborate with a math teacher. And she thought that they gave them a lot more flexibility and diversity in what they were allowed to do, especially in diversity of thought. But she did have one complaint about it, and I might not have time, but it was just too long.
Well, basically, the only thing I've heard of, that a lot of people think it's kind of an inconvenience that kids are getting out on Wednesdays, but there's other cities like Branson, they're out every Friday, which fits their city because they're a tourism city, you know. But I think it's good for personal development for the teachers. I think if they learn how to work as a team better together and have just a little bit of time, which is not much, you know, a little bit of inconvenience to the parents, but we usually have it every week that's not a full week, there's a collaboration day. So you can kind of just put it in your calendar, because previously they kind of bounced around a little bit. But that's all I've heard.
I'm not aware of any input from it. It hasn't been a problem in our house with the varying schedule. I can see where it's valuable to the teachers to get together and discuss maybe students that they're having a hard time teaching, and they can kind of brainstorm some ideas and just discuss other issues. I also know it's valuable to have some peace and quiet and shut your door, and you can get a lot done in there. So it gives them the opportunity to do that. Our family, my kids were older and they could be at home by themselves. I also had extended family in town that could pick up the kids. So it hasn't been a real issue, but being military and living out of town, I know that I often wonder about the younger families, if they have an issue getting a babysitter or someone to pick up on those half days. So.
Yes, I'm aware of various input regarding the collaboration days, but I think it first and foremost boils down to an understanding or lack of understanding about what exactly the district's trying to achieve. So at the middle and high school levels, your child has a teacher for 1 hour and then goes on to another teacher and another teacher. No one's looking at your child's complete education. And that's what the collaboration days are designed to do. They're for your child's math, science, English, reading teachers to get together to discuss your child. So if they're having problems in English, maybe they're having similar problems in math, and they can figure out why. Or they're not having problems in science, and they can figure out what's going on with your child and how they can best expand their awareness bubble of your child to do what's best for them. And I think that is awesome. How we implement that, though, is where it becomes problematic. If there are better ways, whether it's on Fridays, whether it's take a full day off every 2 weeks, I don't know, I don't have the right answer. Happy to listen to further input from students, teachers, educators, administrators, see what we can do to further the interests of our children. But I am a big proponent of the collaboration day design. Thank you.
I've had limited discussions with parents and teachers about it. However, we have to realize there is no substitute for the interaction of a teacher and a student, or students in a classroom. So limiting those days is taking a great toll on the education of a child. Yes, collaboration amongst teachers, extremely important, not only for the teachers, but the children as well. But I think the district needs to find another way to create that collaboration time rather than consuming the classroom time.
Yes, I am, from parents and teachers. Parents generally, the people, it's been going on long enough that everyone is sort of used to it now. And communication being what it is, as long as you look at the calendar, you can go ahead and predict where it is and know that it's coming. The school does an excellent job with providing care, after school care, bus routes are modified. So the school district has already sort of kind of responded to some of those logistical hiccups. From the perspective of the teachers, I've heard both universal support for the activity as a whole and the purpose, and how it does differ between high school, middle school, and the lower grades. Younger teachers can take that time, especially in the lower grades, and collaborate with other teachers, master teachers, to help bring them along. To a person, none of the teachers that I spoke to said they would want to get rid of it, and that it helps them manage their students better and help them become better teachers.
I'm Danielle Doolin. I'm the interim city manager for the city of Warrensburg. On Tuesday, April 6, 2021, Warrensburg voters will be asked to approve $17 million in general obligation bonds for street improvements. These improvements are critical to our city's basic infrastructure. The bonds will be paid for by a property tax that was initially approved in 2017. A few things to remember before heading to the polls in April. The proceeds from the GO bonds can only be used to fund street improvements, increasing the safety and traffic flow of our streets. Voters approved the property tax in 2017 to upgrade the traffic signal system and to build Veterans Road. Both of these projects have been successfully completed. The original ballot measure was approved by 63% of voters. And finally, a yes vote means your city property tax rate will remain the same. For more information and answers to frequently asked questions, please visit www.warrensburg-mo.com/go. Thank you.
Johnson County Commission would like to remind all voters that there will be a countywide sales tax question on April the 6th, general municipal election. This tax will provide dedicated funding source for the animal services, which will be available to all county residents.
A yes vote means you are in favor of increasing the sales tax by 1/8 of 1 cent. A no vote means you are not in favor of increasing the current sales tax rates in Johnson County.
A list of frequently asked questions is available on the county website at johnsoncountycourthouse.com under the Prop A information link. We urge anyone with questions or concerns to contact our office by phone, email, or in person on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday.
We encourage all voters in Johnson County to review their sample ballot as well as the education material available before heading to the polls on April the 6th.